Welcome gaming disciples to a new edition of a head-to-head series, and this one is a biggie. It's been racking my brains for a long time, and it's which is the better game, Borderlands the Handsome Collection or Destiny the Taken King, i.e. Destiny the original game and the Taken King expansion. This one is going to be difficult. I'm going to put them both against each other. We're going to have a bunch of categories and we're going to round up the scores at the end. If you've played them both, then you should enjoy this. If you're making a decision on either, this should help. Okay, let's look at both of these bundles. First up, we've got Destiny, you've got the main game in there, but more importantly, you've got the Taken King expansion pack. That's a very, very large expansion pack. New raids, new strikes, new missions, whole new single-player campaign, extremely good and large piece of DLC. Moving on to the pre-sequel and Borderlands 2, both games are on the same disc, that's a no-brainer, but more importantly, Borderlands 2 has all 4 expansion packs, Captain Scarlet, Mr. Torx, Hammerlock stuff, but the brilliant, brilliant Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, one of the strongest out of the 4, really good value for money there. Even the pre-sequel has the Holodrome Onslaught, which is an arena, and a Claptrap's Fantastic Voyage. I think Borderlands pipped this one. Next up, it's the visuals of the games themselves. Let's have a look at Borderlands first. It's a cel shading art style. You may know this art style from games like Wind Waker, Okami, etc. It's kind of timeless. I think that this game will still look good in a couple of years. And when you look at the colours and you look at the palettes, it's an instantly recognisable image. I know that this game was made on the 7th generation systems or for the older machines, and it's been upgraded slightly for current gen. But of course, you know, I think it's to do with the palette range and to do with some of the draw distances, the skyboxes. It's an adorable looking game and that can't be denied. Next up, it's Destiny, and graphically this game is an extremely big hitter. The environments on this particular title are jaw-dropping. The visuals were the first thing that knocked me on my arse about this game. It was one of the first games I bought for my new machine. Whether it's interior or exterior, it is just absolutely phenomenal how well Bungie have put together the visuals for the game itself. It's amazing, and I think that it really was made for the current gen systems. Even your footsteps on the moon here, etc. Destiny definitely wins this one. Next up is the sound, and if you know who Marty O'Donnell is, you know how strong the score is on Destiny. If you're a Halo fan, then you're well aware of this guy's work. It's phenomenal and it's beautiful. Borderlands has its fair share of pretty cool sounds. It actually is, when things get very hectic in the game, it's actually quite a boombastic noise, but I think we have a clear winner here. I have no qualms for giving this section to Destiny. I mean, wearing a headset with this game is a must. It is just huge, the noise this game makes. Next up is the characters and NPCs of both games. We're going to go first with Borderlands, and as you can see here, there's a lot of fun to be had with the characters in Borderlands. They've all got hilarious dialogue, they all interact with each other, they are just brilliant.
This might sting a bit.
They all have great one-liners, they're all so much fun to go and see. I never tire of interacting with these guys, they're just excellent.
I don't care what you buy, just buy something.
I think they're trying to mock me or something, but that design is badass.
Destiny's NPCs and characters I feel are a little bit weaker. They're kind of just like glorified vendors, to be honest with you. I don't really look forward to interacting with these guys very much.
Find the crystal that held Crota's soul. Toland the Shattered led us into Crota's pit.
You wouldn't want to be trapped in an elevator with half these people, let alone, you know, going out with a few drinks with them, but Claptrap on the other hand.
Minion, I've started my attack! I'm gonna tag every inch of this mountain if it's the last thing I do! Let's go!
Great.
I think it's safe to say that that's a square win for Borderlands on that section. Let's get one thing straight, Borderlands is an absolutely batshit crazy first-person shooter. It does not let off. The colours, the noise, the fun, I think that's the key word here. The driving sections are really well executed. You can have a co-op mode within the car itself, and the boss fights are really, really good.
You really think I'd protect Angel with nothing but a couple of bots and some flimsy turrets? You see, you're not at the bunker right now. The bunker isn't a place.
With a questing system that's very similar to Destiny, the game lets you pick and choose as and when you really want to do things, and I think this works really well. One of the things I really enjoy about it is the sheer amount of variety that they put in to the enemy and enemy types. As you can see here that there's giant insects. Everything is always changing, and also with the environments themselves. Not a lot is recycled in this game. As you can see, the variation in their attack patterns and the way they look has really changed up a lot, and with the pre-sequel you actually have some additions to gravity. You can actually get airborne and float around a lot easier. This adds a huge new angle to the whole series itself. With its current gen status and its multi-million-dollar production value, the gameplay really does shine through on Destiny. The art style and the character modelling and the sort of concept of the game itself is just epic. Some of the stuff that kicks off in this game is completely mind-blowing. I mean, just check out this craziness. The vehicles are great and they serve their purpose. There are enemy vehicles that you can fire from, but your current vehicle doesn't allow that. But there are races on some of the events that happen online. I think one of the strongest points of the boss fights, Destiny really has done this well. They're taken really, really seriously, and they're huge, and they act as a crescendo to the end of a big level. I did hesitate to give this game a lot of credit before The Taken King came out. With The Taken King, there's some really cool new levels, there's some really cool new boss fights. It really did open the game up for me massively. I mean, this video would not be happening if The Taken King didn't exist, because Destiny is a slightly weaker game. So I think on that note, just by millimeters, Destiny wins purely because of its budget and its current gen status. No one really does loot like the Borderlands series in my eyes, especially with the guns. What they've done is they've added all these different aspects of type and put them into an algorithm, meaning that you never will find the same gun twice. They'll either have a different element, there'll be a different gun type, they'll have different firing rates. It's a brilliant idea. It's a loot game that is completely revolving around guns and weaponry. You can also get grenade mods, and you can also get mods for different relics that you slot into your characters. But the main drive is to work through the game and find that legendary or rare gun. You can also get different skins and heads for your characters as drops as well. One of the cool ideas is that all the guns have manufacturers. The manufacturers have traits, and as you can see here, you can actually get the same skin type as the gun manufacturer that you prefer. This is a really great idea. Borderlands has always sold itself on this amazing loot drop mechanic, and I think it's probably the strongest thing about the whole series, and it's a very tough thing to beat. A great aspect to a great series. Destiny's loot system works a little bit differently. Various enemies drop random drops. You don't know what they are actually until you pick them up. And of course you then take some of these back to Earth or the tower because they'll be encrypted. This kind of does work. They're color coded. There are chests in the game, but they're few and far between. Once you take your encrypted engram back to Earth, you then trade it in, and it's revealed what the item is essentially. Now, what I want to cover here is the amount of visual detail that this game gives on different armor types. You have arms, chest, and legs, and helmet, and they are just phenomenally well done. The guns themselves don't have a huge amount of variety, but you do get the opportunity to upgrade particular armor types, and there is a very wide range of visual differences with the armor. And if it's an online game, I think that's a really good feature, because you can immediately look at someone and say, right, well, they've really worked hard to look that way, but it's a grind. You see, that's one of my issues. The actual modeling on the weapons themselves is brilliant. So I think as a conclusion to this section, Borderlands has got it because it's an open scenario where you look at what you found, you discuss with your partner, you know, what you want to take, what you want to leave. Straight away you get the stats, you get to look at things, and all kinds of brilliant situations come up from, you know, grabbing a weapon before someone's seen it, that sort of stuff. This section, definitely Borderlands.
Bravo team.
We're on to the final section now, and it's multiplayer, and we cannot talk about Destiny without talking about its PvP Crucible mode, a very large section of this game. If you're a Bungie fan like me, you loved Halo, and I was very, very into the competitive areas of that particular game. This does not disappoint. You can actually develop your character in single player, take them into the Crucible with all the armor, appearance, and guns and perks that come with that. It's incredibly in-depth, really well done. There's loot drops at the end. The ranking system's great. Do not forget that Destiny has a very, very good Taken King single player campaign. This is also an incredible amount of fun in co-op. Little bit of miffed about the raids being locked behind a compulsory team mode, but the strikes are strong, and the actual one player is also very, very strong. So this is going to be a close call. Let's have a look at Borderlands. On to Borderlands, and of course there's no PvP, but a very strong campaign mode. Borderlands is one of the funniest games I've ever played in my life. I really enjoy playing it on a co-op level with mates. They all have an integral role. The 4 classes interlock very well. Reviving's a lot of fun. The second wind is a lot of fun. Remember that there's a trump card with Borderlands, and it's actually split screen. A real ball dropper for the Destiny series, not including split screen. The Halo series did. I can't work that out. So on to the verdict, guys. It's a close one. Destiny's going to take the multiplayer section for obvious reasons, purely because of its size and variety. So yeah, let's tally up. Just want to say special thanks to Nick Alhash for helping with the video, and of course what a blast I had actually making this. I spent 3.5 days on it. It was so much fun. Destiny won by 1 point obviously, but it just goes to show how great the Borderlands Handsome Collection is if it can go toe to toe with a high budget game like Destiny the Taken King. Thank you guys, see you soon.